and welcome to my universe. It's Wednesday. I don't normally get to welcome you into the universe on Wednesday, but I felt like drawing today, so I was like, okay, let's go draw some stuff. So let's see. Oh, okay, I might be having a occasional bit of technical difficulty. Before stream started, I had a little bit of a scare where my computer was suddenly no longer recognizing my external hard drive, where my model, among other things, is located. I was very concerned. Let me see here. I want to go, tell the story in a sec here, but I also want to go look at how suits work again. Because when I looked at the picture today, I was like, you know, I'm not entirely satisfied with those sleeves. So I want to go look at how suits work. And then we can get into drawing them. Okay. But yes, it's like, I went to go poke at some code a little bit, and Godot was like, hey, we can't find anything. Try restarting. And I was a little concerned, but I was like, okay, we'll restart. And then it didn't restart. Did not restart. And suddenly, I got that moment where there was a slight chill up my spine. So, I eventually tracked it down to the computer now recognizing my external hard drive for some reason. But I couldn't find anything wrong. It was plugged in, all turned on, and everything seemed to be fine. It was a little bit dusty, so I dusted it off, but no, there really weren't any problems. So I kept trying to troubleshoot it, and eventually I just said, screw it, let's unplug it and plug it back in, and then it worked. Technology, man. It's freaking ridiculous. Okay. So what I'm getting at looking at a suit here, so far it's like I think what I have in terms of folds is okay. I want to look a little bit more at the sleeve. This part might be a little smooth. I might add a slight bump in it, but I don't know. For the most part, it looks okay. It's more that I think for the folds that I have going down the arms, I might just have a little bit too much contrast on them. The contrast between here and the folds over here is the same since I use the same color, and I think that might not be working for me. That might just be the issue here. Let me see. I'm gonna turn off the hair braid for a second here. I just want to think about if I was gonna add in a bump from her hand being on her hip, where would I put it? Probably right around here. So I'll see, I'll put it on, and then I'll see if the hair covers it up. So I think it would be right about here. Maybe another one just, no, that seems fine. Let me go look at suit reference one more time. Because they're not especially lumpy. Even when they're being bent due to arm bending, they're not especially lumpy. Yeah, not at all. But it does seem like there might also need to be one doing something like maybe something like this. No, that feels way too big. The main thing is just that it seems like the wrist pushes up the sleeve a little bit. It might even just be that I have this a little bit too thick here. I'm gonna hide the cape for a second just so I can see a little bit more clearly. But there is just something about both sleeves that I am just not entirely happy with. So maybe what I want is right here, where it kinda bunches up right on the edge, right here from this elbow fold. This side seems fine. Slight bump there, and that's okay. I might need to adjust this because of that, but I can do that. Okay, I think the shape might still be okay. It does look like I have something escaping containment over here, though, so I should fix that. Let's see, where's the suit itself? I swear, I ask myself that question many a time. Oh, is the sleeve really below it? I didn't think it was. No, it's not. Okay. I must have just... Oh yeah, I scrolled down to go find the cape. That's right. Okay. And then from here... Let's see. On the lady I'm referencing, it's like her arm is a bit lower than what I have on Katya here, but it does not seem like there should be any bumps in this area. And I see that I got a little hole there, so I'll fill that in. Okay. So I think the shape is good. I think I'll go ahead and leave it like that. I'm gonna turn the hair back on, just so I don't start rendering things that are gonna be covered up. But I'll leave the cape off for just a little bit, just so I can very clearly see the silhouette of the arm here. And then I want to figure out, when I zoom out, that all of my edges look the same. That was one thing that was kind of bothering me, because when I looked at the difference between how blended this area was and how blended this area and the elbow was, they looked about the same to me. And I don't think that's good. I don't. I think part of it is the color. I want to lighten up everything down here and maybe even slightly up here. But mostly I want to lighten up the shadows down there. But I think it might be a little bit more than that, so I'm gonna go stare at this picture of a lady in a suit again. Okay. How do folds work? It's just not expressing suit-like texture to my satisfaction. And I mean, the suit is a little bit weird, and I guess I should describe exactly how I feel this is all connected. So, basically, I picture this part being actually connected here. So you know how suits typically have that little bit that goes beyond the waist? Or at least a lot of them in jackets. This is just a really long jacket that turns red. Yeah. That's largely how I picture this being put together. So just really, really long. So this part is actually connected to the buttons here. Not the belt buckle, but the frills coming out here is actually like connected to this. I'm not sure if that detail is important, but it's how I've been putting things together in my head. Because I'm sure the skirt looks like a separate piece because of the belt. But that's intentional. It's supposed to look a little bit separate. Okay. I want to really look at sleeve again. Maybe I should find a suit that's not black. It's like... I am drawing a black suit, but if I really want to get an understanding of what the shadows are doing, it can be kind of hard to find the contrast when the thing you're looking at is black. This one's made out of a slightly different material than what I'm going for, so... Here we go. Here's a nice tan one. Okay. Give me just a moment. I want to think about how I should interpret what I'm seeing. Because I don't really like to draw super complicated folds. I like to keep them pretty simple. This is actually way more complicated than what I'm used to. I felt it was necessary for this one. But I kind of like to simplify things down. Quite a lot. Okay. I still think that I have them in good places. I think that this makes sense. At this point, I'm just looking at lighting and color differences. And that's the main thing. But I do think a lot of this can be solved just by lightening up these stretched folds. I think these ones are probably okay. But I think if I just lighten up those ones, it'll look a lot better. So let's try it. Let's see what happens. Just a little. You know, still don't want to overdo it too much. But I am hopeful that this will get me what I want. And then I kind of want to keep things a little bit darker back this way. I think it'll look nice. Okay. And then I kind of want some of just the normal color at the edge here. Just a little. Gonna zoom in just a bit here, just to hopefully let me place everything a little bit more accurately. It'd be nice if I could stay a little more zoomed out. But I find it easier to see what I'm doing like this. And you know, seeing what you're doing when you're trying to draw something, kind of important. You know, just a little. I want to keep the fold here a little strong. I don't mind this one being a little weak. From what I can see looking at these, they are indeed not especially strong, which is why I figured that lowering the contrast would help a lot. So I like that. Let's see if I can get a little bit more of that over here. Oh, I have the wrong color. Okay. And then I do feel like these ones might be just a little bit too hard-edged. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. Okay, maybe in a few places. Like down here in going under the cape into the armpit, I think I'm just going to wholesale darken. There is a cape behind her. It's going to be very thick, so I'm not too concerned that there's light coming from behind her here. It's going to be blocked, so I can do pretty much what I want, and it's fine. And I'm just gonna gradate some of this a little bit more. Like here too. Because this is like half cast shadowed, half just going back, going onto a different plane. And then some of these little folds sticking out here, I want them to be blended in a little bit more toward the edge. I think it's fine for them to be pretty hard there. But I want their transition to be a little bit smoother. This is a cast shadow from the thorn and the leaf up there, so this is fine. That should stay like that. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna darken this area a little bit more, try to get kind of that soft gradation in there to go along with the harder cast shadow. I mean, the good news is that I'm pretty happy with everything else. So, you know, once I finish this, then we can go back in and finish the mask. Although, actually, you know what? No, I don't want to finish the mask. If I'm going to be studying suit texture here, I think I would like to just finish the suit all at once. And then we can do the mask. Yeah, you know what? That sounds great. I think while I have suit texture on the brain, let's just go ahead and do the entire suit here. We'll do the torso and the legs, and I'm not even going to stop to do the patterns. I'm just going to try to get this texture exactly the way I want it, and then we can move on to other details. But I would like to figure out how the hell suits work, and then draw all of them. And draw every little piece that has a suit involved. Yes. I think that'll be easier than trying to remember what the hell I did. Especially since I don't know how long I'll be able to go today. Today is kind of impromptu, and I do still have other stuff I want to do today. I just really wanted to draw. And at the rate I do things, I am still slightly concerned on whether or not I'll be able to finish this by October. I'd really like to be able to finish this by her birthday. Okay. So how's this looking when I zoom out now? Is that a little more suit-like? Still doesn't quite capture it for me. Okay, so I think some areas around the elbow might actually be a little bit too blended. That might also be a slight issue. Let's see. Mostly right here. I think what I'm gonna do... I am really gonna bring that out. Gonna make that fold really strong. And then kinda connect it up through here. Is that something I see here? No, I think I can get away with actually just leaving it like that. Just keep the complete line. Yeah, I think I can do that. I don't think I need to have them connect. Yeah, now that I look at it, some of the other pictures that I'm seeing on Google Images here, you know, just my standard stock images that I like to use for quick references. Sometimes they do have stuff like that. Okay. And then I think that this here should be a little bit harder than it currently is. Up into here too. And down here. Like, I did add a little bit of gradation there, but that's just because I wanted the edge here to be a little bit darker. I actually do want the edge difference between here and here to be fairly hard from what I can see. I don't like that. What about from this side? No, I don't like that either. Okay, let me do another stare. I'm gonna be going back and forth a lot. I want another one here. Okay, let's go look at Senpai here. Let me see how he did his folds in some of these. Because, yeah, it's like we have a little bit more folding happening on this one. But for the most part, he does keep it pretty simple. Because, like, here, you see, like, a singular fold on this thing. And there's nothing else. We get a couple here. But for the most part, things are pretty simplified and smooth. Let me see. Where's something that there should be a bunch of bunching in, like, the elbow and stuff? That one's not bad. Her sleeves aren't long enough. Yeah, if anything, I'm overcomplicating it. Yeah, I was Normally, I'd actually keep it simpler than what I'm doing, so maybe I should, bring it back more towards what I would normally do. Let me go look at this code again here. Not exactly the same as a suit, but I'm just looking at where they come out. And then we get some to kind of show it strongly draping over her shoulder here, the bunching of the elbow here. And I think this is also just from elbow. Okay. Not very many of these characters wear sleeves. Okay. Now looking at it, I still feel like where I put them is fine. Okay. Oops. Didn't mean to click up there. Let's see here. I kind of want to see how these are blended together. Because maybe where I'm losing some of it is that it's not entirely clear that this part of her arm is kind of coming a little bit more forward compared to the back part here. Or is it? No, they're about the same, aren't they? It's like when it comes to sleeves, I do think that this part is sitting on top of this part, but no, doing the pose myself it's not really that different either way. You can actually kind of move your arm however you want there. Okay. I will try to more clearly define a couple of them then. That's fine, and I actually am not sure if I like this fold at all. I think I'll keep it there, but I'm just gonna make it a little bit less noticeable. I'll just let it be a little subtle guy. Instead of some of these guys out here with a much more strong presence. Okay, I want to harden up the edge here, I think. What about that? What is the equivalent on that? Yeah, okay. I don't think I like the way it's kind of sticking out there. So let's just kind of simplify that a little bit. We'll keep that edge fairly hard, and once again, I'll just kind of gradate toward the back. Okay. I actually do think that's better. Cool. Now I want to do something similar. I'm going to turn the cape back on, and I want to do something similar with this sleeve. That one's a little bit different in that that's what made me realize that I thought I had a contrast issue. Because I was realizing that the difference between here and this really light area was just a lot. I also didn't really like the way this was blending in. I think it should be way less noticeable. Well, maybe not way less. Moderately less. And I think some of those folds that I have going here should go a little bit further. So I'll start with these colors. And I'm just gonna kind of extend this guy out a little further. Same with these guys. They're just gonna come out a little further. It's gonna look weird for a second. That's okay. That guy I think is actually okay. And then I have a particular shape I want to get for this one. Alright, so something like that. And I do think that the level of contrast here is actually okay. It's mostly just for these ones that I think it's a slight problem. But for now, I want to blend this in just a little bit more. And I think this guy's fine. I might extend him just a little bit, but not a lot. And I kind of start going into this fold. And they're going to kind of connect with each other. And this guy I think is okay. This is actually pretty good. I see lots of folds like this, but I think he might be a little bit thick. Yeah, looking at my reference, I think it is. My main issue there is just that it's a little bit big. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to kind of extend it. And we're going to push it in here. There we go. And I don't want there to be like any gradation here at all. Absolutely none. It's just going to be a deep, dark fold, and it can kind of expand a little bit out there. Well, I don't think I want it to expand, but it's going to start gradating a little bit more there, I think. Whoa. What was that? I choked on my words. Oh, no. Man, it's been a while since I just choked on the air. Okay. I have been slightly out of it lately. It's terrible. Can't code like this at all. So yeah, I was thinking about doing a little bit more coding today. But brain's kind of saying no. Especially since some of the stuff I'm thinking about is like, hey, why don't you rewrite that thing you've been working on? Because I think you can simplify it a lot, and it might make it a lot easier to make all the changes that you want to do later. And I decided, even though just aside from really feeling drawing today, that perhaps this was a bad time to do it. Maybe I should wait until my mental state stabilizes. It happens periodically, and it's terrible. But fortunately, I'm here in a brain-dead rendering section. I call it brain-dead, even though I'm having to kind of make some textural decisions, but it's still pretty dang easy. So it's like, hell yeah. That's the perfect thing to do when you're feeling brain-dead. It's fantastic. I don't want that to... I don't know. I want it to have a little bit more presence. I like this guy kind of blending in, but this one I feel is a little bit tighter. As folds go. Okay. Well, maybe not quite that much. Mostly near the top. I think I wanted to kind of blend a little bit more, and then down here, as it kind of starts getting into this thing, a little bit tighter. There we go. Yeah, I think I'll finish up this part of the arm before I go and do the next one. Hello there, Paul Rundine. Welcome back. Okay. And this part I'll start getting nice and light, or nice and dark there. Kinda make this transition make just a little bit more sense. And then as we get to here, I kind of wanted to just sink into that big fold there. I have particular plans for this little fold here. Something like that. Yes. Yes. And this should look good once I start darkening up this area. So far so good. I'm almost done with kind of the first pass I want to do here. So right now I'm going to be doing the rest of the suit here. And then after that, I just need to finish up the mask, most of which I have done. It's just, you know, frills. Because you never escape for hell. And then a little bit on the back of the cape here. But I think that's it. Oh yeah, and I kind of wanted to touch up the glove too. I think some of the shadings, some of the folds aren't blended in quite well enough. Anyway, oh yeah, and the belt. But yeah, not very much left. And then I get to do some shiny lighting stuff, and I'm very excited. I do want to touch up her face a little bit, though. I've been holding off. Because the face is good enough to keep me motivated, but has enough problems that I do want to go poke at it. And it looks good enough that I like staring at it, but because it has a problem or two, it's motivating me to finish everything else so that this way I can go back and fix it. That's why I don't fix it right away. Look, sometimes you gotta intentionally leave some problems, so that this way you can feel good about yourself and you go and fix them later. Okay. Yeah, sure. Go for it. How was college for you? Terrible. I hated it. Hated high school too. Everything before then wasn't so bad, but everything after that was terrible and I hated it. Couldn't really tell you why. It was nothing in particular. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know why it was so terrible. Yeah, it's like I'm thinking about it and I'm trying to figure out how to get more specific, but I really can't because I genuinely don't know why I disliked it so much. It had really nothing to do with the work. I mean, some of the people were kind of terrible, but I mean, that's just part of interacting with people. Subject matter was fine. I was interested in all the things I was studying. But nonetheless, could not deal. Part of me is still amazed I graduated at all. Well, I mean, that was about the best answer I can give you there. Haven't the foggiest why I hated it so much. But I sure did. It's probably just some stuff with me too. Just a lot of the times, anytime I feel like I try to interact with society in the way that society expects me to, it goes terribly. So or rather, I guess I shouldn't say it goes terribly. It just tends to make me not very happy. Oh, that's the wrong color. There we go. Yes, I wanted to lighten you up just a little bit here. Oh yeah, unfortunately, as for why it was terrible, that's... I really don't know. All I can tell you is that you'd have to pay me a lot of money to be 20 again. I'm not gonna say you couldn't pay me enough, because I think everybody has a price. Generally I prefer not to. But, if I had... but in general, what I would prefer to do is... how to say... I think that we're kind of super disconnected with the fruits of our labor and the things that we want to be doing. I do think society has gotten, or not society, just people in general have gotten significantly more judgmental than they used to be. And, but most of it, I just do think that we're kind of really disconnected from the fruits of our labor. I mean, what started driving me crazy at my last job was just that I felt like everything I was doing was actively making things worse. And that's a really, really terrible feeling. And considering that, you know, my area was software development, I laugh because otherwise it would be very sad. Otherwise I would cry. But yeah, I just feel like what a lot of people want those skills for is not stuff that actually helps humanity at this point. So that's why I'm kind of trying other things. And I'd feel the same way about a lot of things. I thought about, you know, maybe let's try to get some art job or something. And then I looked at what's actually out there and I was just like, oh, maybe not. So that's largely been my problem. Just divorced from the fruits of our labor, and then the stuff that people are willing to pay you for to make just isn't very good. The inshitification is too strong. At least in the fields that I'm in. With the skills that I've built. I've thought about potentially, like, changing fields or something, but, I haven't really seen much out there that I'm just like, oh, hell yeah, I want to help with this. I even tried looking at nonprofits, and no, not so much. It's very sad. Okay, let's lighten some of these things up. That might be a little bit too much, but let's start there, and I'll bring it back as necessary. I actually think I want this one to be even less contrasty than everything else, since it's kind of going back, both back and into the light source here. So I'm actually going to go pretty strong on it, and I think that'll look pretty good. Yeah, zoomed in, it doesn't quite work, but I think once I zoom out, that this will actually work pretty well. So let's make those folds a little more foldy. I do want to keep some of the dark spots in there. Okay. And I do still want to keep the part kind of here, that the parts that are away from the light source, a little bit darker. Just a little. Let's get that fold in there, and I do want this to be very, very well blended. Let's see. Let me find the slightly darker color there. There we go. So from here across here, I want it to be very hard, very sudden, the color change. But from this side down to here, I want it to be a little bit more blended. I think that pretty well defines the kind of folds that this is. So let's just get that nice and smooth. Nice and smooth. And I do want that little bit here on the bottom half of that to be a little bit darker here. This is right here is a little bit too light, so I'll bring that back out. And then that's already looking a bit better to me. I think I want over here to be a bit darker, and then it'll just gradually get lighter and lighter as it goes back, and I think that'll look really nice. I think it'll be pretty good. Kind of want to blend in this part a little bit more too. And then up here, I do want it to get a bit brighter. Just as the arm goes back, I just want the entire thing to be a little bit more bright. And yeah, and then I think that the little bits that I have coming out, the folds here, are just a little bit too big. It's making the suit look a little bit bulky. So I'm going to kind of tone them down a little. They'll still be there, just not quite that big. Okay, and then I just feel like the difference on here is a little bit too strong. So I think for that, I'm actually going to go grab the smudge tool. Smudge instead of blur this time, because I want to be able to push it around a bit. And I've always felt like smudge is better for that. And I just kind of want to fade this spot a little bit. And then after that, I want to make this line up on the edge here just a bit harder. I'll do it up here just a little too. Okay. Oh. There we go. I accidentally clicked a button that I did not mean to. These things happen. Okay. So, there we go. Wonderful. Let me see, how do I feel about the hand? I might touch it up, but I think I want to do the rest of the suit first. So let's just do that. Okay. So I'm gonna go look at my suit references again. I might have a few too many folds on this. Looking at them, they are actually not very foldy. I think I'll have a few extra ones just because the lapels here are a little bit different. They go around the chest instead of over it, like most would. So I might have one or two extra. But besides that, doesn't actually look like they get very foldy at all. I am honestly surprised, because I figured that this kind of material would fold a little bit more. But maybe that's why this is a popular material for suits, in that it doesn't result in folds that look a little bit unattractive. Or maybe they're just edited, I don't know. But yeah, I see some strong ones around the waist and around a button. Okay. So for this one, I think I'm actually going to start with the little button holder thingy. Normally, I would start with something a little bit lighter. But I think I'm actually going to start there. How many parts do you think this will have before it's finished? I'm currently worried about whether I'll finish it in time for Katya's birthday in October. So I think we still got a while. And at this point, I'm honestly wondering if I want to have it done by her birthday, if I'm gonna be able to do all of it on stream. Like, I think I can do the entire suit side on stream, no problem, but I'm not sure about the dress side. It'll be a lot. That's kind of the thing with doing the entire process on stream. It's like, it wasn't quite as bad when I streamed every day, but now that I'm only streaming a few times a week, so I work on this once a week, so I only work on it for 3 hours a week. With as slow as I go, that's not a lot. It's one of the reasons I figured I'd do an extra one here. It's like, I feel like drawing, so let's do it. Let's try to get some stuff done. Unfortunately, I tend to be really bad at estimating how long the things are going to take me. I've never been very good at predicting the distance in the fourth dimension. So... never have been. It's deeply unfortunate. I think I want to lighten up there just a little, actually. I want the shadow to exist, just maybe not quite that much. But yeah, that all seems fine. And then I think I can pare back some of these folds a little. I'm gonna hide the cape again. Just so I can more clearly see the edge here. So let's see. Yeah, I think I'll start with the light again. And then I think I'll just have a couple of larger folds kind of coming from the buttons rather than what I drew before. As much as I kind of like it. Didn't I say I wanted to be faster? Yes, I would very much like to. I'm not sure if I've made any progress, but to be fair, I'm trying to do a little bit more with this one than I have for some other ones. I just wanted to try some stuff. And trying stuff means taking it slow. But I appreciate the sentiment nonetheless. It's alright, I'll keep trying. I have some plans for Inktober. I'll do Inktober again this year, and I have some things that I want to try for the sake of speed. This one I think I'll just get rid of. This one I think is good, though. Kind of send it back out toward the button there. And I think I'll simplify these guys just a little bit. Yeah. Okay, that seems pretty okay. I think I might need to make them a little thicker. Actually, here, most of them don't go all the way to the edge. Fascinating. See, this is the importance of reference. I'm looking through quite a few, which is why I'm not really bringing it up on stream. It's like, I guess I could open the browser here, but... let's see. I'm also noticing that a lot of them tend to have this little seam that kind of goes down the chest here. And I think that's part of what limits the folds. I don't actually think we see it on this side. I think it's like gonna be like right on the edge here, and so I probably won't draw it because I think this is too close. Yeah. So I'm just gonna go ahead and not draw it on that side. Okay. So I'll just put everything to the side of that, kind of more in shadow, and we'll get something that I think looks a little bit more like the references that I am seeing here. I think this is fine just due to how she's bending. I might make them just a little bit smaller. So it looks like I'll have to touch up the vine just a little bit. Yep. One moment. Got a bot to ban. Goodbye, Mr. Bot. Okay. And now with that little bit of erasing that I did, I do think it's a little bit too blobby. I want to keep it fairly sharp still. There we go. A little bit less blobby there. And now I can start getting in the folds caused from the buttons, as I think they should be. So something kind of like this. And something, I don't know, kind of like this. So that's gonna change some things. I'm gonna hide the trim for a second, since the lighting in them will no longer be correct. And hopefully this will give me an idea of what we got here. I'll do something like this, just so they're not, like, identical. But as far as I can tell, this tends to be the kinds of folds that I'm seeing in the suits here. They are surprisingly not foldy at all. I figured that since they had, you know, such a fine, smooth texture, that they'd have a lot more folds, but no, there's barely any at all. And most of them don't even go all the way to the end. So we'll just have kind of something out like this. I think I'm gonna focus on this side just a little bit more here. And then I do want to make it look like the fingers are going into the suit a little bit, so there will be some folds coming out of that. I'm gonna, around this index finger especially, I'm gonna kind of dig into that. And then we'll put a fold coming out of it like this. This finger not digging quite as strongly, so I think that what I have here is fine. I'll let it kind of come out like that. And I'll fade that out when the time is right. Do something like that just to bring the fold out a little bit more, I think. Yeah, I think that works. And the rest all seems okay. I just kind of need to smooth it out now. So let's do that. Let's get this nice and smooth. Okay. We'll just have a slight one there, since her hips are kind of bending here. You can see there's a little bit of a squish here, where it's compressing a little bit due to the movement of her spine. So I think that this kind of fold is fine for that. And at least from what I get from looking at suit references, this tends to be how they work. So I'll very gently kind of pull it out like this and then push it back in order to get the fold. A little bit harder on this side. A little bit softer on that side. And I think that should let me get it. Oh, wrong color. Okay, so something like that. I think that should work fine. I'm gonna go ahead and grab this little guy here just while I have all the right colors and stuff. And I'll make this just a little bit more clear. A little bit thinner. Maybe not that thin. Okay. And then with that, I should be able to get rid of all the other folds that I don't want. And hopefully this will make things look more suit-like. I do like experimenting with all the clothes textures, though. I am learning so much. It's fantastic. So I mentioned that I had some plans for Inktober and what I want to learn, and the big thing for me is I want to grab a bunch of references and then try to more or less capture their essence very quickly. Because I own, since it's a daily challenge, I can really only spare about an hour, probably like 2 at most, in order to do that. So I want to do something that I can do very quick. And for a while I was trying to do weekly speed paints. It didn't really work out. It was a little bit too much for me, but there were a couple in there that I thought they both looked good and it was not really painful at all to work on them. So I was thinking about why that was. And there was one in particular that really stood out to me where I finished it very, very quickly. And I did not feel rushed at all. And I realized that it's because I referenced the pose directly. Like, I literally had the pose I wanted to draw pulled up. And then I just drew that. And I'm wondering if that's a part of the reason I was able to do it very, very quickly there. Of just, I kind of outsourced a lot of the decision making. So I want to do a little bit of that with Inktober, where I just directly reference a pose, and then I try to figure out how to capture its essence quickly, simplify it down in a way that looks good to me, and then see if I can pull that into more serious paintings. So that's kind of what I want to try for Inktober this year. Already planning for October. Sounds like me. Okay. Consistently? Which part are you referring to? Sorry, just don't understand the question. There we go. Let's get that in there, and that looks like the finger's kind of digging into it, so I think that's perfect. Okay. Let's go ahead and get some of these lights in. 'Cause, yeah, that's not how that works. How are the highlights gonna interact with the shadows here? Actually, you know what? Let's just do something simple here, and I'm gonna pull back all the things here. Let's go to the button holder, actually. I think that'll be pretty straightforward. I'll let the little bit of light that I got going here kind of pull into where the buttons are. Oh, was that covered up by something? Or do I just have a random hole that I never noticed? I don't think I have that many hidden layers right now. No. Well, that's awkward. I should fix that. I wonder how I didn't notice that when I was first going over things. How awkward. Okay. That's okay. That's why I zoom in and make everything nice. Yeah, I was trying to do that, and you know, it was fine. But I couldn't keep it up for too long. The main thing wasn't so much that actually drawing was bad. It was just that going really fast was kind of stressful. I am not super fast at these things. But I just remember with that one specifically, I was able to do it very comfortably, and I do think that having the pose reference probably was responsible for a lot of it. I think it helped. So I'm gonna put that theory to the test for Inktober this year, and see if I can just do some of that. Because drawing every day, well, I haven't been doing it lately because I've been coding instead, but drawing every day is no problem. It's having to finish a drawing every day that's a problem. That's some high stakes right there. But I think it's good for me. I think it's good to, you know, at least do a challenge where I can't get every detail down, and I do kind of have to figure out how to convey what I want to convey as quickly as possible. I think it's healthy, so that's why I keep doing it. And, you know, I'll do it again this year. Will not be doing Novel November this year, though. That was... no. Inktober, though. I think I'll keep doing that every year. That was good. Alright, thanks. Alright, well, thanks for stopping by. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I'm kind of looking forward to Inktober, though. I think that'll be fun. I want to show a little bit more hint of fold here. Just a little. Because, I don't know, it just looked a little bit too liney, and it was bothering me. I think these will be, you know, just a small folds kind of like this. I'm not going to put in too many. See, this is one of those things that I feel like I could probably simplify away for simpler drawings. Not for this one, though. This one is not a simple drawing. And this one is all about the clothes. I'll probably do a lot of simplification in the background to stop things from taking attention away from the clothes. But for the clothes, no, they get everything. They get everything. They get whatever they want. Whatever will make them look their best. I don't like their direction. Come down here. Okay, and I think that looks okay. I do like this little shadow from the belt here, but I want it to be a bit smaller. Okay. And then probably something coming up here on this side too. I actually think that you might be just a little bit big. I'm gonna blend it in just a little bit more here. Just a little bit more. Okay. So we'll go around like that, and then once again, I'll just kind of blend it in. Let it kind of fade out to nothing. This is the kind of patterns that I observed when I was looking at all of my references, so we'll get something kind of like this going. And then we'll just, you know, let it go back out to nothing. And I think that'll kind of capture the energy here. So let me go take a look at this one more time. Yeah, I think that captures the energy pretty well. So I just gotta finish blending it out. Okay. And let's see, what side do these things button from anyway? Buttons on the right, going into the left. Okay, so that's why I have that like that. I think this is probably too dark then. So I'm gonna use this color instead. And I think it's also probably a bit too big. Whereas this is like a literal hole being plugged up. So I can make it a little bit thicker. So something like that. And I don't want it to be very diffuse at all. We have a stretch here, so I think I'm actually going to get rid of some of the folds here, with suits both being not very foldy in general, and with, how to say, the squish being over here, so there's a pull on this side. So I'll let this side be a bit straighter. We'll just clean that up slightly. I think thinking of movement in clothes as squish, pull, and twist, I think are the big ones. So here, you know, we got the squish over here, so on the opposite side there's going to be a pull. And then on, like, the arm here, there's a little bit of a twist, and that's why we get these folds. I think it's pretty useful to think of clothing folds in that way. I'll still let some come in around where some of these folds from the buttons are. Make it a little bit stronger through there. But otherwise, I'll keep it pretty straight. I'm still very amazed at how just not at all foldy suits are. There's not very many folds in them at all, and I'm using the wrong color to blend. Oh no! So I'll still just, you know, let the slightest hint kind of roll inside there, just very subtly. And then I just want to blend this all out until it's just a very, very smooth transition. Very, very smooth. Okay. So something like that. I think that looks pretty good. Yeah, and that does look very suit-like. Okay, cool. So it's fairly simple. And I'm gonna take a look at the pants again. Because I had a particular thing in mind when I was doing the legs here, and that was just that I remembered that in a lot of fancy pants, the way you iron them, it makes this very strong fold kind of down the middle of the leg there. So I wanted to show that. And I do see it in my references, actually. I still do see that. Where there is a very distinct planar change from one half to the other. Okay. So I think I can probably keep something like that, but I don't think I want it to be quite this bright. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kinda find a mid-tone here. Something slightly brighter, but still lighter. And I don't like all the extra folds I put around the knees. Let me see. Let me find one with a slightly bent knee. Do they have a bunch of extra folds around the knee? They have some slight folds around the knee. I think this is the only problematic one. He should be angled downward like this instead. But besides that, yeah, the other ones seem fine. And then what about up by the top of the leg? Yeah, they seem fine. Okay. These guys I think I'll let stay a little bit later. I'm still just gonna go ahead and go over everything with this. Do I want to use any highlight color for something here? Because this is not only under the skirt, but it's also a little bit lower than where the light source is coming. So I do picture the light source kind of, you know, shining all around. Gonna have a nice halo around here, so this is just like barely inside of that. So it probably does catch a little bit of light. Let me see, do I have a good color I can pick here? This guy's probably pretty reliable for what I was using. And in that case, we can add like a little bit, doing something like this. And going in like that. And it'll be a little bit messy for a bit. It's fine, don't worry about it. But I think something like that might look nice. Yeah, I think so. And then I think this fold is good. What about the other one I have on her knee? It's just that most of these are from the front, not from the side. Yeah, okay. No, I think the folds I have look okay. So I'll just stick with that. And for this one, I think I'm actually gonna kind of start with just... Oh man, eyes itchy. Okay. I want to start with blending this side here. Just because I think that this is going to be smooth. So I'm just going to make this nice and smooth. Oh yeah, that's right. There's also the cast shadows from some of this stuff. You know what? I want to get that before I forget, because I did just forget. And it'll keep happening if I don't do it now. So, okay, slight change of plans. Let's see, I don't think that's a proper cast shadow. This guy should be like this. And then we're gonna have some stuff under here and like under here. This guy will be more like this, and there'll be some stuff here and here. Any more? Yeah, a little bit right here. And here. Yeah, there we go. And now let's get the buttons. I'm sorry, little buttons, I completely forgot. Look, it's easy to get caught up in things, okay? Gotta be careful. I was kind of excited to get to the legs here. Okay. And then, let's see, I don't like those ones. I think I just want to move them over here. And I'm pressing real hard right now just to make sure that the shadows are also very hard. That they're not getting all blendy like the ones over here. But there we go. Now they have shadows. And let's see, I handled the fingers. Is there anything else that casts shadows? This probably does a little bit. Let's see. How would that work? Do I even like that? Yes, actually. Okay. I wasn't sure for a second there. I don't think anything over here does, you know, besides the hand, which I've already taken care of. I do like the little fold from that finger. But yes, I think that did it. So now we can go back to the legs and start making them look nice. Yes. Yes, yes. Okay. Okay. Oh, I had the wrong color. No wonder things were looking weird. It keeps happening. Need to pay more attention. I wish my brain worked better. Please be dark again, thank you. Okay. Okay. Let me zoom into 100% here. Might need to start grabbing some transition colors, and I might even break out the blur tool again. Yeah, let's do that. I don't like using the blur tool too much, but for getting rid of some of that little bit of extra banding, I think it can actually do just fine. Okay, so I think that's good for that part of the leg, and now I want to do this part. So, because this one is part fold, part smooth. So I'll start... Oh, it's not the right color? Okay. Well, that was strange. Anyway, so I'll start pulling this fold out into the edge here. And start getting it kind of blending into everything here. So I think that this side is going to be the soft side of this fold, and then this side is going to be the harder side. So I won't blend this side in quite as much. And I think that'll get me the texture I want, and then this part here, I think can be nice and smooth. I want it to be not quite as smooth as this, but close. And I want it to get smoother as it goes further down. So up here is going to have more fold energy, and down here is going to have more smooth energy. And I think that will look fantastic. And you know, looking at the leg back here, I think for first pass, the back leg's not going to have much to it. So... let's get a quick stretch in. My arms are locking up a little. Oh yeah, big stretch. Big stretch. Okay, and then I'll just go back and forth for a bit until I get the level of blending that I want. So up here, a little bit less. He gets to have a bit more fold to him. Down here will vanish into nothing. It'll just be completely blended, you know, assuming I stop picking the wrong colors. This is why I'm not coding today. God, it keeps happening. Gotta watch that. Okay. And then I think I will once again use the blur tool at the bottom there. Just a little. Just a little bit. But up here, I don't think any blur is necessary. I don't want it to be quite as soft, even at the softest point. Okay, there we go. So let's grab the knees. Gonna pull the light part of the fold in just a little. And we'll let things kind of fade out just a little bit through here until they get a little more well-defined right about here. So something like that. I'm gonna add just a slight bit of shadow on the edge here. But otherwise, it's gonna stay something like that. Okay. And I'm not too concerned about the cast shadows just yet. I'm gonna be going over them just all over the place. The only reason I included them in the initial draft there was that this way I could check to make sure that the shapes, the shadow shapes, looked good even with the cast shadows there, since they are very necessary, and I wanted to make sure that they were designed well. Okay, let's get this fold in. This one kind of goes between the top and the bottom, which you can see have very slightly different colors. So I gotta be careful with them. Otherwise, it'll end up really wonky and ugly. Okay, and now I think I can start blending things here. I don't actually want this transition to be super noticeable. It's there for a subtle effect. It's not there to be noticed. Let's see, I think I would also like this fold to be a tad harder here. Okay, there we go. I think that looks pretty good. Let's check it. Yeah, I think that has about what I want. Maybe just a little bit softer right here. Make the transition there just a little smoother. But otherwise, yeah. I think it's pretty good. So now... Let's see. I guess I'll do these folds first, actually. I was gonna say, now, let's start working on that highlight. But no, I think I want to do these folds first. So almost ready for that little highlight. That'll be exciting. I do think that highlights just really bring out everything. Okay. Well, while I finish up the folds here, I finished Silk Song the other day. I was playing with my husband, so I ended up not wanting to play it on stream, and oh boy, am I glad. I would have died many, 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 many times. Game was hard. But it was honestly pretty disappointing for me. Just because I thought the original Hollow Knight was like top tier Metroidvania. And Silk Song very much was not. It still feels sad to say it. I've been kind of gathering my thoughts on it. I might talk about it a little more sometimes, but at least talk about it here. Of just... We're actually going to do a playthrough of the original Hollow Knight just to compare it to Silk Song and make sure we're not crazy. But I'm amazed that they're made by the same people. Legitimately. It had moments of absolute brilliance. But the overall package, I mean, I'm adding it to the list of games where you get your friends to play it because you don't like them and you want to laugh at their suffering. Up there with like La Mulana. It's not quite as bad as La Mulana, but there were just several things that stood out to me. There were many more mean-spirited jokes. Like there was a bench in this place called Bile Water, which is just ridiculously oppressive. And the bench is where you get to sit and restore your HP and save and stuff. And so there was this bench there at the top of this really grueling gauntlet. There's a sign pointing it out saying, hey, bench this way, as is common in the rest of the game. You get there. It's not a bench, it's a trap. And it sends you plummeting down quite a bit after this grueling climb. Sends you into this water that stops you from being able to heal. For, you know, a little while. You basically have to waste your next heal on clearing the debuff that it gives you. And it doesn't heal you. And these kind of more mean-spirited jokes happened a lot. Like, I mean, I don't mind traps. There were some that were fine. But that one in particular just stood out to me as just being really, really mean-spirited. I mean, you can just kind of hear the developers laughing. Even though it's not really funny. And there were a couple of benches like that. And I just thought it was really unfortunate, and there are some other things, but that one kind of stood out to me in particular. And another thing that kind of stood out to me is just kind of unfortunate design. Is this game likes to make much bigger use of just normal enemy gauntlets, so you have to just defeat a ton of normal enemies. It used it a lot more than I remember the original Hollow Knight doing it. And furthermore, unlike the original Hollow Knight, it didn't do anything interesting with their enemy gauntlets. Like, I'm remembering the arena in the original, where it took into account enemy behavior and things that they did and adjusted the room to provide an interesting challenge. Whereas pretty much all of them in Silksong just took place in big, empty, rectangular rooms with nothing interesting happening. So, I don't know, man. I don't know what happened. It was just really sad because the original Hollow Knight was so good. And I felt Silksong was just kind of mid. Probably not the worst Metroidvania I've played, but the fact that it was made by the same people that made one of the ones that I considered the best was just really sad. Especially considering how much I was looking forward to playing it. And a lot of these things were just fairly basic design problems, not even trying to be too ambitious or anything, just some of it just really mean-spirited and just hateful of the player. And some of it just complete filler. Like there are several times where you have to donate a bunch of money in order to progress the plot, basically. And the plot won't progress until you do, and there's absolutely no reason for it. It's just there to be grinding and to make it more annoying if you happen to lose a bunch of money through death. It was just all really unfortunate. I don't get it. I'm not sure what happened, man. So I am currently in a slight state of lamentation there. Like, once we beat it, we weren't, like, happy. We were relieved. We were done, finally. That's not a good feeling to have for the end of your game. If anything gets me to write some proper gaming analysis for this channel, it's gonna be that, I think. Or maybe someday I'll finally talk about Subnautica. Okay, let's get a tiny fold here. Kinda going into this one. I am looking forward to playing the original Hollow Knight again, though. It's gonna be really interesting to compare it to Silksong and maybe get a good understanding of what the heck went wrong. Because I don't think it's just that I'm old now and my reflexes aren't as good as they were 10 years ago. I really don't think it's just that. I think it's a lot more than that. But we'll see. Gotta play the original Hollow Knight and find out. I really did like the original Hollow Knight, though. It was a really good game. From what I remember. We'll see if I agree with my past self or not. It's like, who knows? Maybe it was always like that, and I was just less picky 10 years ago. I don't think so, but, you know, I am not gonna try to claim otherwise until I actually play the game again. Because I had played a lot of Metroidvanias as of 10 years ago, too. It's definitely one of my favorite subgenres. Alright, let's get the lighting on the top of this good. I want it to be very subtle. There we go. So how's that looking so far? Yeah, I think that looks like suit pants, and then I'll probably tone back this part just a bit. But I think that's looking really good. Yeah. I like it. Okay, let's keep going. I actually think that with as big as that fold is, they could maybe use just a little guy coming in between here too. Just a little guy. Just before I get into the highlights up at the top. Yeah, that's nice. I do notice that where suits get foldy is very much when they're being bent. So, like here in the elbow. It got pretty foldy in my references too. But everywhere else, no, not so much. Very surprising to me still. Okay. We got a vine there. I'll go ahead and put its cast shadow in, just because that is an excellent spot for that fold to just start, I guess. The highlight to start. And I think that works out. So now I'll start blending it in with this bit here. I just think that in order to look right, it's going to have to come out a little. And this highlight will have to get a little bit brighter. So we'll start blending that in. I'm just barely touching on the tablet here. Super light, super delicate touch. Doesn't need much more than that. That'll be enough to kind of bring these colors together. Yeah, look at that. It's coming, slowly but surely. It's gonna take a few tries to get all that blended in the way I want, because I wanted it to be a nice, soft gradient here. Here, I'm gonna let it kind of stick out a little bit, like that. So just a slight thing there, and then after that it'll go back to just the gentle gradation that I go for everywhere else on this. Very soft, very gentle. Okay. I've been having fun thinking about games a lot lately, just how to pull things into games that I make too. It's honestly been just an absolute joy to work on my game. Even though the last few weeks the progress has been really slow, because I've just been stuck on how to make this particular problem work. It's especially bad because it's like the core mechanic of the game. So I really want to make sure I get it right. And it's been really, really rough. But nonetheless, I don't think hard things should necessarily be shied away from. It just means I gotta try harder. But I can do that, and that's fine. I've actually been reading a little bit on what builds confidence in people. And it's actually not success, not the slightest. It's adversity. It's overcoming difficulties. That's exactly why video games tend to be fun. It doesn't give you the win. It expects you to work for it, and often very hard, depending on the game. And that doesn't mean that there's no place for easy games. Even games that are designed to be easy. you know, sometimes they can give different feelings, but in general, what makes a lot of video games really enjoyable is that they don't just let you win. You overcome a challenge, and then you feel good about yourself, and then you feel a little more confident. And that's just how it works in general. It's honestly pretty cool. So I'm really looking forward to finally figuring out the answer to this problem. And I have no doubt that I'll be able to. It might take a couple more tries. I think I'm already thinking I think I want to try a slightly different method than what I had as of last coding stream. Might work on it a little bit on stream, actually. Well, we'll see how that works out. Just because I'm kind of revisiting some ideas. I think that there's a couple of bugs I want to fix on stream first, though. So that feels a little messy and a little bit too bright. I'm gonna pull it back a bit here. I think I might simplify this into one fold. Well, no, it actually doesn't look as good as one fold. Okay, I'll bring it back into two then. I'm a little surprised that it doesn't look as good as one fold. Fascinating. Just goes to show that there is something that I'm looking for whenever I make all these little textures. I don't always know what it is, but I know it's there. Okay, I don't think I like how far down this guy comes, and make it just a little shorter. Which does mean kind of extending this light spot up a little higher. There we go. Something like that. I want to blend in that part a little bit more, but other than that, I think that looks pretty good. Yeah, I think I like this. Let's go, I'll go grab the blur tool again. We'll just fix this little guy right there. And there we go. Yeah, I think it looks pretty good. So, we got one more leg. And I don't think I need to do very much on this leg at all. Gonna do another quick stretch here. Oh man! Is that a hole? Oh no, that's a piece of extra leg. You shouldn't be there. Okay. Oh yeah, and I should get the cat shadows too. But let's go ahead and get this leg since I started thinking about it. And I don't think it'll take very much to get him do what he needs to do at all. Since this area is just like completely in shadow. I'll let a little hint of fold exist here. And this is like the only little part of the pant. Oh wait, I have the wrong color. There we go. Yeah, with me actually working on games more, I've been making a point to play more. Still probably just gonna keep playing games until completion on stream, but I've been spending like an hour before bed or so playing through some other stuff that I found. My latest playthrough was of Planckera, which was really fun for a long time, but it kind of petered out near the end, and it was a little unfortunate. But I think I have a good understanding of why it petered out. It was a game that was very much carried by its progression system. So the idea of that game is that you're plopped onto this lifeless planet, and you're supposed to terraform it. So it had progression on like two folds. Or I'll call it 3 actually. So the first is just your ability to move around and stuff. You unlocked more stuff to do that. The second would be increasing your terraforming ability. And then the third was actually watching the terraforming happen. Like, the planet changed in really big ways, and it was super pretty. It was really great, actually. Something I would be interested in doing a little bit more studying on, actually, and just how certain bits of the progression system worked. And with me also being a fan of idle games and the like, I already knew that a progression system could absolutely carry a game in very big ways. I mean, those are just progression systems distilled into their purest form. And for a long time, Planet Crafter was offering me new and exciting ways to do things, whether it's, you know, bigger oxygen tanks so I could go more places, interesting resource patches that had stuff that was really hard to make, and new buildings that allowed me to get certain things more easily, and stuff like that. But as you get near the end, you stop getting really exciting things. You just don't. And it kind of started making the game a little bit boring. It really did. Alright, let's get the cash shadows now. And that was kind of my problem with the ending there. Was just nothing was really happening anymore. All I really had to do was wait for my numbers to go up. And I mean, I added more buildings to make it go faster. But I wasn't really... Nothing was really happening anymore. And, you know, it's fine to have a little part of rest near the end. I think that's normal. It just went on for too long. Where I wasn't getting anything new. And thus it was kind of hard to get excited for anything anymore. So, yeah, that game. Interesting progression systems, but couldn't quite stick the landing. I find that to be very common in crafting games. I had a similar feeling with Subnautica. I had other problems with Subnautica, but that in particular was very strong. So I've been thinking a lot there, because I've had a game idea floating around in my head for a while, and it's starting to kind of take form. So that's part of why I've had a good deal of curiosity with crafting games lately, since it would have a good deal of crafting in it. Just thinking about how these things work and what I want the core gameplay loop to be like and whatnot. Various things like that. Okay, here we go. Cast shadows on. We'll probably see a lot of more crafting games in the future. Or at the very least, stuff with strong exploration. Probably non-Metroidvania for a little bit. Okay. Yeah, so now I actually do kind of like the look of everything here, so let's go take care of all the trim. I'm gonna have to change a lot of the lighting on it, so I'm gonna do that first with my hard brush. I don't want to do it with the soft brush. I want to blend it all after it's all done. Okay. Oh yeah, we have a lot of new shadows here. Oh yeah, that's right, and I have kind of a mid-tone for this part, because I thought it looked weird without it. Okay, so there's like no shadows over here anymore. I will need its highlights though. I do think it's a shame that so many of those crafting games have trouble kind of sticking the landing, as I call it. And all I mean there is that they seem to have trouble keeping the same excitement all the way until the end, and maybe they just make the ending part a little bit too long. Pacing is surprisingly important. I guess it's not that surprising. It is pretty important, though. It's crazy how bad pacing can just mess up everything. Let me see, I'm gonna lower the opacity on this so I can see where the shadows are a little bit better. I'll have to touch them up after, but that's fine. I can touch them up after. It's all good. I think the reason that some of these games might have a little bit of trouble sticking the landing is they're what I describe as too smooth. And that came from a comparison I was making about Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup. It's a roguelike. Or, you know, you descend into the dungeon to get the MacGuffin, and then you get out. And for a while, I thought it was pretty fun. And then, you know, I started doing other things, and I hadn't played it in probably a good 5 to 10 years. And I was like, I got the urge to play it again, so I was like, okay, let's go play some Crawl. Sounds like fun. And when I booted it up, a lot of things had changed. Some of it was probably for the best, like potions no longer shattered and froze, so you didn't have to dump things before you went into like ice caves or something. Like, that was nice. Getting rid of some of that ridiculous behavior. Some of the silly things you had to do in order to prepare properly. But what I started to notice was that a lot of the decisions felt a lot less meaningful. And my runs just started all feeling the same, which when you're playing a dungeon crawling roguelike like that, half the reason to play it is so that even if you die, your next run is going to be different. And you'll get a slightly different thing. But I started to notice that my runs were getting very, very samey. And after a while, I noticed that they made a bunch of balance changes to, what's the word? I don't know, make all the options a little bit more equivalent and equal. Which sounds great on paper, but it started making all of my runs, like, identical. And it just started getting kind of dull. And so I described it as the developers just smoothed out all the rough edges and left this highly optimized kind of experience. And I actually didn't really like it. It was crazy. I mean, making a game more balanced, like, that sounds great, doesn't it? Doesn't that sound like exactly something that you'd want to do? Yet somehow it made the game worse. And I thought that was baffling, and so I thought about it for a really long time. And the best way I could describe it was that they just took out all of the rough edges that made the game interesting, and just left this, really smooth experience instead, which, you know, almost sounds like a compliment. And I think it can be, sometimes. But then I started noticing this concept in other games. Like, my husband and I played this game called Shapes. and it's a little factory game where I called it like a factory game in its distilled essence. Because all you do is your resources are these little shapes. You have an infinite amount of them, and the idea of the game is just to stack the shapes in certain ways so that you get a particular shape that you're looking for, and then you throw it into a hole. So you're not building anything in particular, you just gotta stack them in a certain way and then throw it in a hole. And so there's a little bit of like throughput stuff. You think in terms of number of belts and whatnot. And I don't think Shapes was a bad experience. It wasn't one where I thought it was bad or I wasn't having fun. But there's like no reason to play it. It is like so smooth. All the rough edges were removed from it. Just all of them. Down to a pure essence of factory building. Neat concept. I enjoyed it. But nonetheless, there wasn't actually a lot to do. And once you solved it once, you basically beat the game. They added in some more features to try to bring up the complexity a little bit. I don't think it really did a whole lot though, personally. And then it just became a matter of, okay, make sure you have enough space. And just for fun, because otherwise it just would have been kind of uninteresting. My husband tried to do things in as little space as possible. So some of the builds got a little crazy, and that was pretty fun. But we kind of had to make the challenge ourselves because the game wasn't going to make us do it. And I think if we hadn't done that, as well as make this particularly pointless device that could make literally anything, the game wouldn't have been that interesting. So now we have this term where we talk about a game being a little bit too smooth. And there's just not enough resistance, not enough to... I don't know. Sometimes it can be a little hard to describe. I'm having trouble finding the words right now. But not enough variation. Not enough things to truly challenge what you can do. And not enough depth in the game. And too smooth, I think, depends on the type of the game. For a crafting game, I kind of expect a little bit of smoothness because nobody likes to do super hardcore survival for their little crafting games. Or anything like that. But in this case, as in Planet Crafter, as I started getting more and more unlocks and more things that I could build, I just solved like every problem that I had. And it got to the point where all I could really do is stand around until my numbers got big. There wasn't really any real reason to explore anymore because I'd get ingredients that I could just make myself easily. And it just removed like every aspect of difficulty, and I think that's actually pretty reasonable for a crafting game like that. To, as you unlock things get simpler, and you can just kind of do whatever you want without thinking too hard about it. But once you reach that point, you better end the game soon, because it's going to lose all interest. And once there's no more good unlocks that let you mass produce things, or let you do things easier, or, you know, whatever else, it's gotta start getting a little bit boring. And that's just kind of what ended up happening. I actually tried to play some of the DLC. I went to the moon, Selene, and I accidentally miscounted how many ingredients I needed to build the rocket that would let me go back and forth. So I was stuck there. And I couldn't do anything, and suddenly I started having fun at the game again, because I'm like, oh man, okay, let's go see if I can gather ingredients to try to get power running again, because, you know, power was totally dead, and I was gonna have to build like 3 million solar panels in order to run anything, in order to run some of the high-tier buildings I brought over with me, and various things like that. So I started scavenging properly again, and oh man, that was fun. But then I stabilized. And, now there's nothing to do again. So, you know, once I accidentally made life hard for myself, I started having fun again. And then it got easy again. And, suddenly it's like, okay, now there's nothing to do. I'll plop down some buildings when I need some more resources. I guess I can go try to find them. There's slight hints of a story that I may be mildly interested in. It's probably gonna be the only thing to get me to open the game again. But now there's just nothing to do. And I'm just kind of waiting for the numbers to get big. So the terraformation process is finished. And since I can't get certain materials on this moon that I need to build things, I'm just kind of waiting around for my rocket to bring it from my main base on the other planet. Just waiting for it to bring it up to me, so all I can do is just wait for this rocket to bring me more supplies. But I have unlimited supplies because I have unlimited supplies on the other planet. So it's literally just, okay, I have to wait, what is it, like 500 seconds? For the rocket to go there and back. And then I can build a few more things. And then I'm waiting 5 minutes again for it to happen. And it's like, in the meantime, I mean, I guess I can go explore. But all I'm going to be doing is running through spaceships to get randomly generated supplies. So I don't really have much motivation to do so. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot to put the highlights on out there. I think I got some. It's probably fine. Oh, wrong blend mode. So yeah, my motivation to play it has gone down considerably. Because it's like I solved all the problems. And I guess I have the pain point of that rocket, but it's not one that I think I can solve. I don't know. Maybe I'll try. Maybe I'll try to find ways to make it more interesting again. But basically, all I'm saying is that, you know, if I do decide to play more of the DLC, I'm gonna go to the next planet with absolutely nothing. I'm not gonna bring anything except maybe food. Because that's the only way to make the game interesting at this point. It was just so sad for me because I was enjoying the game thoroughly. When you were getting lots of neat upgrades that kind of changed how you were able to develop your base and how you were going to go about the terraforming process and stuff. Like, that was a lot of fun. And then it just ran out of steam, but the game decided not to stop. So I just kind of determined that after a while it just got too smooth and there was nothing to do anymore. So until I work up the motivation to play more of that, I decided to pick up another crafting game that I wasn't sure would make good stream content. It might have actually, but it's called Outward. And I haven't played very much yet, but so far it's pretty interesting. Has some communication issues, but that's okay. I'll figure it out. I just remember my first experience with the game was, okay, I was running around, and then I see this symbol on the HUD there, signifying that I probably have some kind of debuff on me, but I, for the life of me, could not figure out what it meant. I couldn't, like, hover over it to get a description of what was wrong. So I had to look it up from outside the game, and I think it's always kind of unfortunate when you have to do that. I think that's something that's really good to avoid. Make it easy for players to figure out what the hell is going on without looking things up. If you have to make your players go outside the game, you have done something wrong as far as I'm concerned. And then after a while, it's like, okay, I get to the point where I'm finally ready to leave your starting village. Ooh, very exciting. So I head on out, and I see a hyena. I'm like, oh, that must be just, you know, some fodder that I can practice the combat system on and figure out how to fight. Yeah, it killed me in 4 hits. The game, I think, is trying to be a little bit more simulationist than some other crafting games I've played. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I was a little bit surprised. I wasn't quite ready for that. And I mean, I guess it makes sense if you're getting mauled by a hyena, you probably can't take too much mauling before you die. So, I mean, it makes sense in that context. But I was playing a video game. And I was walking down the main road. The first road that you come across as you leave your starting village. And I just kind of thought that the first enemy that they threw at me would be one I'd be able to take. Not what they were going for. Not what they were going for. Fighting is deadly. And I think it's fine to go for that. It absolutely is. I just wish they told me. I would have prepared a little bit more. I actually ended up starting a new game and doing a little bit more to prepare, and now combat's not quite so bad. But I figured that I'd be able to go out there and start in gear and, you know, do a little bit of fighting and be okay. Except for some of the enemies that the game explicitly warned me about. From talking to the villagers and stuff. Hyenas were not among them. But I actually think it's okay to make a game where combat is super deadly and they want you to be really prepared for everything. You just gotta make sure you communicate that. Oh, whoops, I had this on normal. Well, it still looks okay, so I'll call it good. I don't want that on normal, though. I want this on color dodge. There we go. Communication is important. I think it's extra important in video games because, you know, you can't be there to hold the player's hand. So how you convey things. Very important. Very important indeed. Kind of the same with art here. I wasn't describing it while I was doing it, but I kind of deliberately tried to make it so that this way the threads going this way made it look like this thing was on top of this branch. It's not quite so strong now, but I was thinking about that. And I do think that kind of thing is important, so you can see that this stem here is supposed to be on top of that leaf, and on top of this thing here. It's kind of subtle, and it's small enough that I don't really think people are going to notice very much. But I think it's good to keep track of those things. I just think conveyance and whatnot is especially important in video games because you're asking the player to actually interact with the world, whereas here it's like you're only just kind of staring at it a little. Not quite as big a deal. I don't actually expect you to do anything to change what you're looking at here, so if a thing or two gets slightly misinterpreted, or if it's not entirely clear that this stem is above this, or this stamen is above this stem here, really not quite as big a deal as it is with conveyance in games. Since, you know, not as much interaction happening. I actually want to handle the erasing at 100% just so I don't get too deep into it. I will get overly perfectionist if I am not careful. Okay, but we're about done with the suit here. Oh, that's kind of exciting, actually. I kind of want to revisit the hands a bit after, I think. But yeah, I think the suit textures are a lot stronger now. I don't know, some parts still maybe feel a little bit bulky. I'm not quite sure how to fix it, though. I think that might require some in-depth looking at some things that I just don't quite want to do for this piece. But I think that I have it captured well enough. I do. I think it looks good. See, the part that's a little unsatisfied is just the perfectionism speaking. And I don't want to ignore him. But I kind of want to acknowledge that there's only so much I can learn from each picture if I ever want to finish them. And I think that I'm happy with what I've gathered from this. And I do think that this texture looks different from this texture, which looks different from this texture, and looks different from this one. And this one's going to look even more different because I intend to do a little bit more with some shadows later. So I think that's good for here. I think if I wanted to get it any more accurate, that would start getting into more realism territory, which isn't where I want to go. I don't really want to get super into realism here. I actually don't think the Path to Nowhere artist style is very realistic either. So that's why I think it's going to take a little bit more thinking about than what I want to do for this particular picture. Because I think some of it might just be suits don't look like this. Or, you know, that they have a particular quality that I'm not reflecting here. I don't entirely know what that is. But if I want to avoid getting too far into realism, I'm going to have to figure out how to find that essence and express it in a more simplified way. My hand is cramping a little bit. Give me a moment. So that's going to take a little bit more than what I want to do for here for the time being. I think I have succeeded in what I set out to do for this picture. And this is something I talk about sometimes when it comes to studying art. Of set a goal or two for the picture. And then just do that. So for here, I wanted to draw a picture that focused on the character design. So I very deliberately picked a simple pose, a fairly simple background. This one might even be a little bit too detailed, but that's fine. I still want it to look like this. I just didn't want to go too hard on anything but her clothes. And her face, I guess. I feel like you have to go hard in the face if you're gonna draw a face. Yeah. And then the other thing I wanted to get something a little softer, so I referenced an artist that I enjoy. And I wanted to find a soft style that I was happy with. and considering that I wanted to go hard on the clothes, I decided that expressing different textures would be important here. Because that's like half the reason to go with a softer style in my opinion, so that this way you have a little bit more opportunity to express different types of texture. And since I was focusing on the clothes deliberately, I figured doing that for the clothes would be okay. I'm probably not gonna do it quite as much in the background. The textures, I think I'll probably keep a little bit simpler. I might even... I don't know if I'll use the Krita's wood brush. I don't know if I like the way it looks. I think it's fine for placeholders, but I don't know if I'll use it for the real thing. We'll see how I feel about it when the time comes. If I don't like it, I'll do something else, but... But I do think that it does look like there are different types of cloth being expressed here, and I think the threads look like threads and various things like that, so I am totally satisfied. Capturing a purest essence of suit can come a little bit later. Okay. There we go. I think that's good for there. So now I can just get her a leg. I'm just making sure I don't have to like touch up anything on these, but I don't think I do. I think they're still fine. Yeah, because this one's going slightly into the fold, and so is this one. So I think they're fine. So now I just gotta do it again, just over here. Hooray! Alright, here we go. Hand kind of hurts a little bit. Let me stretch it again. I have to press a little bit hard to get the opacity brush to erase right, but I don't want to do it with a hard, round eraser. That would get it a little bit too thoroughly. Stretch. Okay. Here we go. Yeah, I'll just get this at 100%. I think that's fine. At least for this part, I don't really have to press very hard. I kind of do in a few of the shadow areas, although actually, before I do this, I should blend everything. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Actually, you know what? You can stay on multiply, because I'm not going to be using you for anything just yet. Yeah, it didn't actually look too bad, so I didn't immediately feel the need to blend things. I think I want back here to be just a tad darker, though. Let's see, let me lower the opacity here. This does mean I can't really get the color from it anymore, which is a little unfortunate, but it'll be okay. Over there is okay, it being just a solid color. What color am I looking for? Just the base? Do I even have the base on the belt anymore? I don't think I do. Okay, up there. Actually, I think your base is a little different, but I think that looks okay, so I'll leave it like that. We'll just get all this nicely blended out. And I'll put some darker spots in the areas that I think should be a little darker. It's not going to be quite as dark as that. I probably could make it as dark as that, but I'm not going to. I think this looks fine. Okay. Now, we can get back to cramping my hand again. Let's go. I don't want it to be like that. I want it to thin right here, so half of it goes like up there and that way, and half of it goes this way. Hell yeah. Gonna go around that stem, and this one's gonna break into thirds. Yeah, there we go. Then one kind of goes in the middle, up into all that, and then one goes out on the side here. Okay, perfect. I don't mind it being a little messy. It's fine. It's totally fine. This is once again where I have to question, oh my god, why did I draw so much stuff? It's okay, it looks good. It looks great. I still hope Katya likes it. Okay. 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 So that's the lower part. Yeah, I think I want to finish this leg before I go and do the other one. So I'll just go ahead and do that. I'll just get all the stuff down here. Let's get all the tiny threads. It's okay, it just needs to be textured and then it'll be great. I do try to keep the threads largely going the same direction, so that this way when I change direction it looks like something different. Various things like that. But I think when people are looking at this on Twitter, they're not really gonna see that, and that's fine. Because yeah, when you're looking at it on Twitter, you're probably gonna be seeing it like this big. So I am trying to keep that in mind. But I do like to at least get it to the point where it looks good when you zoom in to 100%. Any more, I don't really worry about. But I do want there to be nice things for people to look at, if they actually decide they want to look at the details. Okay. Just getting the last couple of these flowers here. I still like how this design came out. I think it's really nice. I'm looking forward to finishing it. Giving her some nice scenery to hang out in and some nice lights. I think I'll probably do the background before I do the global lighting. Sometimes I do the lighting on the character before I do the background. But I think what's happening in the background is going to be important enough that I kinda want to get that done first. We'll see if I change my mind. I would not be surprised if I do, if I'm just too excited to light Katya properly. I am pretty excited to light Katya properly. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Now for the little highlight parts. Oh, that's really bright. Okay, I'll put the opacity back down. Okay. So this, you know, is just still for color variation and stuff. I do think it helps make things a little more thready, so it's worth doing, I think. Otherwise, you know, I wouldn't bother. Guess I'm doing this side first. Sounds good to me. Yeah. And then after this, I think it's gonna time to touch up the hands a bit. I just feel like some of their edges are a little bit too hard. I want to blend them in just a little bit more. I need to draw this going from this way, otherwise it won't work. There we go. This is one that kind of branches a lot, so I gotta make sure I draw it from the right way, so this way it kind of keeps that branching feeling. And now I think it mostly has it, so it's all good. Gotta get my thread textures in, hell yeah. I never realized just how many patterns I drew down here. I don't think you ever realize how much you drew until it's rendering time. And then you're just like, wait, I have to go back over all of this? Oh no. Self, how could you do this to me? Alright, so we'll get a few lights on the flower in here. And then it'll be time for the 3D shadows that I like to put on all these things. It does make them look really good, so worth just a slight pain. Just enough to get me to complain. Always. Okay, over here and over here and over here. I don't think I hit this spot actually. Let me go over it. If I did not do a good job. Okay. Yeah, I think we're good. So set that back to normal, get ready to turn it into my eraser. And now, shadow time. And this time I'll remember to set it to multiply, because I think that'll actually be important here. And we just add a little bit of 3D to it. I actually think this makes a massive difference. So I like to make sure I do it. Just look at the difference there. It's huge. It's less so on these really thin ones, but on the thicker ones, huge. It's big. It's why I put in the little bit of extra effort every time. I think it helps. Even on the little guys. So I kind of had the light source coming from above here, a little bit to the right mostly. The left and right doesn't really matter quite as much here since she's backlit. Okay. Here we go. And I think I want a few more going around these guys here, but otherwise, that'll do it. Okay. Highlight time. I like highlights. They're fun. These guys I gotta be real sparing on, because it's not supposed to be super shiny. But this I do think helps show a little bit more 3D, especially in the thicker areas. It'll help me convince people that this is not a flat plane, even though it is. Okay, as long as I can make everyone believe it, it'll become true for this particular universe that I have created. Okay, Just a little bit more, then we'll go rough up the edges a bit, go beat them up just a little. And that will finish the suit, I think. I still need to get the belt, but I'm deciding that the belt is different from the suit. Okay, here we go. I'm ready for my hand to hurt. Let's go. See if I touching up the hands in me, because my hand does hurt a little bit. Yeah, I can't touch up the hands because my hand hurts. Oh no. Okay, I need to make this one just a little bigger. There we go. There we go. Now I should be able to get something good here. And you can see, I don't mind making it a little messy. I think threads actually look more like threads when they're just a little bit messy. I think the texture gets lost when it's too neat. When it's too smooth, so to speak. Gotta have a little bit of rough edges here and there. God, leg has a lot of pattern. At least with some of the lace on the other side. I'm not gonna have to do some things like this. We'll see how that works out. I'm looking forward to drawing the dress too. I think that'll be fun. Alright. Probably a good halfway there. So much. Oh well. It looks really nice. So I'll just power through. Still just having to be real careful in some of those thinner ones. Because I don't want to erase them completely. I just don't want them to be totally smooth anymore. And at least for the thin ones, I actually don't really mind cutting through them horizontally, just completely bisecting them. I think it actually helps make things look a little bit more like threads, or at least the thin ones. The thick ones, I'm a little more particular about not doing that. But for the thin ones, I don't mind it at all. As long as it's occasional and you can still make out what shape it's supposed to be, I think it's fine. I don't want to do it all over the place though. If it was all over the place, I think that'd be a bit much. And I remember when I was first drawing these, I was pretty particular about getting the edges pretty smooth. And I think that was still worth doing. It's making my life at this stage much easier. So I do appreciate that from my past self there. I think I'd have to be worrying about a lot more things if I didn't get it nice and smooth like this. Cute. Okay. Almost there. Just kind of gotta get in the corners here, and then I have to do the other leg. But, almost there. And not dying as much as I feared it would. Only a little death here. It's okay. I will definitely need to stretch my fingers after this, though. Holy cow. think they got a little bit more juice in them, though. Just enough to at least finish this leg. Yeah, and I think they've got enough juice to finish the other one, too. Let's go. It's exciting. This is going to be, like, the main stuff just finished. It's like hands, I have to finish off the mask, I have to do the back of the cape. There's not very much left. Okay. There. Perfect. Hell yeah. Okay, I'm gonna stretch my fingers. Oh man, hand definitely cramping up a little. Fortunately, in order to do the things I want to do with the fingers. There. It's gonna be a lot less pressing hard. Okay. Because on the fingers, in particular, I just didn't really like how, how to say, the difference between here. It might actually be easier to do with the blur tool. But I thought that the turn there, the plane change was a little bit too strong, and I just wanted to smooth it out a little. Yeah, blur tool makes sense here. Let's just keep my life easy since my hands hurt. I want to keep things a little bit harder in those places with folds. But otherwise, I kind of want these, or the borders between some of these to just kind of disappear. The other hand is going to need something a little bit more special. Because... Yep, and that did exactly what I wanted it to do. This one here, I think, just needs a touch here. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so the other hand is going to need something a little bit special, because now that I've kind of flooded the sleeve here with light, I kind of feel like I have to do it on here and the mask too. I think I'm going to finish up what I'm doing with the mask there before I do that, for that part. Oh yeah, now I'm going to turn her cape back on. There. Okay, so... I think for today, I'm just going to finish up the hand. But we'll go ahead and just finish off those other things and probably start the background. I'd be surprised if the last bit of frill and mask and maybe the touch-ups I wanted to do on the face. I mean, the touch-ups I want to do on the face might take a while. You gotta go hard on the face. But I don't know. I think I might be able to start the background next time. That'll be fun. I'm on the wrong layer. Where am I? This is on the body layer, right? Yeah. I just want to get this a little bit smoother. Where appropriate. And then I think I want to flood it in light just a little. So we'll take this color and kind of at least kind of around the edge. Okay. I'm not going to touch the mask this time. I think I'm going to save all of the mask stuff for next time. But I do want to do a little bit of that with this guy here. Just gonna flood some light into this. And there we go. I think that blends in a little bit better with the hand. It's making the mask stand out way too much now, so I will have to do something similar with that. But I think we're good. That is kind of the main bulk of her clothes. I guess I still have the belt. But that's kind of the last bit on her main body here. All that's left is the mask, the cape, and the belt. Then I'll derp around with her face a little bit. I'm really looking forward to being able to derp around with her ears. Look, she has knife ears. I gotta make them look really good. Oh, hello there, Tamak. Thank you. Yeah, I've just been poking at things a lot there. Main bulk of the clothes is done. My hand hurts, so I think I'll go ahead and stop here. But thank you all for coming, and I hope you're able to make something wonderful today. We'll continue with my usual schedule tomorrow with some programming. Gonna go squash some bugs and maybe do some math. I swear, I've been redoing that algorithm all the time, but someday I'll get it. Maybe it'll be tomorrow. We'll see. Hope to see you there.